Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Hong looked at Ji Qing's eyes. The eyes were the windows to one's soul. The higher up one was in mental state training, the more observant and accurate they could see, completely seeing through every minuscule reactions with Ji Qing's eyes, whether she was hypnotized or controlled through soul techniques, etc. Or was she speaking from her heart? What's going on? Why is Her Majesty Qing saying this, and what does it mean? What other meaning is there? It's break up. Why is she suddenly breaking up? Didn't she completely refuse to give in before? Hence she was locked in the pavilion. Why has she changed her mind now? In the distance, the many devils and spirits clan women were all discussing. They were all very suspicious. It was supposedly a happy occasion, and yet now it was this. Hong looked silently at Ji Qing. Ji Qing looked at him too. From her eyes, Hong could tell that Ji Qing wasn't hypnotized in any way. Why have you suddenly decided to leave me? Hong looked at Ji Qing. You told me before that there are certain things that we must do and others that we shouldn't. When one makes a decision, it has to be firm, sacrificing whatever that needs to be sacrificed. Ji Qing said softly, even though her voice was soft. However, even Luo Feng, who was standing behind Hong, could feel the resolve within her voice. Hence you are sacrificing our relationship? Hong asked. Ji Qing didn't say anything. She only gritted her teeth and nodded her head. Sacrifice? Hong stared at her and said solemnly, why didn't you say anything when your head ancestor stopped you, when your teacher stopped you? You even went against both of them. And now, after I got my brother to help me and finally met your teacher, Fantasy Spirit Emperor, gambling with my life, attempting the 18 levels of love illusions. After successfully passing the 18 levels, I came over happy to meet you, yet you tell me this now. Why? Why the sudden change of heart? Why didn't you say anything before? Hong stared at her. She was silent. Hong's rage was bubbling. Luo Feng, who stood beside, was also unsatisfied. How did this situation end up like this? This Ji Qing had strongly denied her ancestor and teacher, yet at the final moment she suddenly changed her mind. Look, that Hong is about to flip. Anybody would flip. I heard the 18 levels of love illusions he attempted before. If he got careless, he would lose his life in reality. And now Her Majesty Qing is saying such words. How can he not rage? If it were me, I'd be raging too. How can she give up such a good man? The devils and spirits clan women were all speculating and discussing the situation. Hong looked at Ji Qing. She lowered her head. I have to make a choice. Love is important, but there are other things that are more important. This was what you told me too. Hong took a deep breath. You've really made your decision? Hong asked lightly. She nodded. Hong revealed a pained smile. Who would have thought that after so many years, I finally fell for another woman and it ends up like this? Ji Qing bit her lips. Even though she was a strong woman, and there were many things in the family that she was able to control and make decisions, she even regarded herself as stronger than her father, even against her undying seniors. She never cowered before them, however, towards the one man she respected. She still felt weak within. Ji Qing. Hong looked at Ji Qing. The short-haired girl lifted her head and looked at the man she loved. I hope you realize your dreams. Hong smiled, and also, sorry for the time I bothered you. After which, Hong turned and walked towards Luo Feng. Third brother, let's go. Hong looked at Luo Feng and said, after which with a poof, he vanished. Luo Feng watched the scene silently and looked at the short-haired girl in the distance fighting hard to hold back her tears. He sighed softly. He too vanished and his consciousness returned to reality. Big brother Hong. Ji Qing watched as Hong turned and vanished, those last words ringing in her mind over and over. Sorry for the time I bothered you. Bothered me? What have you bothered me about? Ji Qing muttered within. She was very clear about Hong's character, what may seem like a simple line of apology, turning and leaving after, held within his pain. Also, she was clear that he would probably never ever look back. Because she understood him. Sorry. She muttered within. The devil and spirits clan women watching were all stunned. They all thought that Hong, who had gambled his life in the 18 levels of love illusions, would be engulfed in pain and rage, and thus express it. However, they never expected him to simply say sorry and leave. The member undyings of the Virtual Universe Company were all in their palaces on Thunder Island. The Undyings that were members of the Universe Mercenary Alliance were all gathered in another spot too. Whatever happened in Fantasy Spirit Palace was fully discussed by all the staff and quickly spread. This punk is not bad, passing all 18 levels of love illusions set by Fantasy Spirit Emperor, at least is very strong in terms of love desires and illusions. I think he wouldn't be weak in the other sides too. And he's a special elite of our huge axe dojo. Quickly send someone to absorb him into the currently ongoing training faction. Yes, Lord. Ganwu Universe Country, one of the 9 first-class planets, Jade Dome Planet. Luo Residence. Luo Feng looked at Hong and sighed within, since 3 days ago, when what was supposed to be a perfect ending suddenly completely overturned. Back then Luo Feng had decided to tell Hong directly. I dare say she was initially strong-willed against her teacher and ancestor, however she changed her mind suddenly at the very last minute. That's abnormal. If it wasn't Silver Snow official meddling in between, then it would have been Fantasy Spirit Emperor. Hong immediately replied, of course I understand that either Silver Snow or Fantasy Spirit had influenced her. However, big brother, why did you just leave then? Are you giving up so easily? Luo Feng asked. Others may influence her, but the final one making the decision is still Ching Ching. Hong laughed indifferently, and I'm very familiar with her character. She's like me, once she makes a decision, it's very hard to change it. And I could hear. It was a decision she had made from the bottom of her heart. Why? Luo Feng asked, why did she give up? Because of herself, or family? Hong sighed softly. I know her well, she's a very strong person, she has the dreams and determination to become an absolute warrior, she would never cower to the requirements and demands of love. Also, she's extremely loyal to continuing the family bloodline. Standing within the villa, Luo Feng looked at Hong, recalling their conversation 3 days again, he sighed. No matter, his big brother had been through a tragedy this time. Luo Feng, don't think it wasn't worth it. Hong smiled at Luo Feng, life comes with sadness and happiness. Also, after I succeeded the 18 love illusions, the upper echelon of the huge axe dojo noticed me and specially arranged for me to join the Special Elites training faction. If it wasn't a special order, I would have to wait a few decades to join that. Luo Feng nodded, take care. Don't worry. Hong smiled and nodded. Luo Feng, I'm leaving with my student. The white-haired old man Luo said. Luo Feng nodded. Then, Luo and Hong entered the round disc-shaped ship which was purple with gold mixed in, with a diameter of 620 m. This was a ship specially sent by the huge axe dojo to receive Hong. Big brother, make a name for yourself, let that Fantasy Spirit Emperor watch. Luo Feng shouted. Ha ha. The black-clothed Hong walked to the cabin door and turned, smiling, making a name for myself, I never doubted that. Third brother, you better not relax, otherwise I might catch up with you. If you have the ability, come. Luo Feng laughed. After which Hong laughed completely carefree, and entered the ship. After a while, the huge disc-shaped ship lifted and left Luo residence, quickly flying through the skies and vanishing through the clouds. On the grass, Luo Feng looked up and watched the ship leave. Your Majesty. Dylan stood beside him. Big brother's gone to the Special Elites training faction. Luo Feng exclaimed, no matter, big brother's matter is over, this whole affair has ended. I have no more need to stay on Jade Dome Planet. Dylan, arrange for me to visit my home planet. Yes. Dylan nodded. Luo Feng looked to the skies. Home. Milky Way. Earth. It had been over 200 years since he returned to Earth. The Luo family had already become a huge family. It's time to return and take a look. Luo Feng muttered. That day, Luo Feng brought his guards and took the Yunmo planet ship, leaving Jade Dome Planet, and headed to his home, the Milky Way. Ganwu Universe Country, a few tens of thousands of light-years away from Jade Dome Planet, was a normal life planet, Waylo Planet. In an underground base on Waylo Planet. Team leader, the report has been sent via the virtual universe. Through 369 levels of translations, and according to their coordinates in the universe, the details of the report are: Luo Feng has brought his guard team in an F-grade universe ship and left Jade Dome Planet. The intended location is unknown, however from the report we can deduce that the possibility of Luo Feng heading to his home planet reaches 72%. A silver-uniformed bald three-eyed man said respectfully. Another black-uniformed bald three-eyed man looked at the screen. On the screen was detailed information. It was regarding Luo Feng. Number 9's information is very little. We have to collect enough data and have a definite guarantee before we begin the assassination. Every time we do a mission in the 1008 universe countries of humanity, we have to pay a huge price. We have to achieve success in one time. The last time we failed in killing number 1, we had huge losses. This time we cannot fail again. The black uniformed bald three-eyed man said. Also order the 13th team, which is closest to the Milky Way, to check up on number 9's home, Earth. The black uniformed bald three-eyed man ordered. Yes. The silver uniformed underling replied respectfully. The quiet underground base regained its original calm state. The members of this mysterious organization were usually very quiet, barely speaking. As Luo Feng was taking his guard team in the Yunmo planet ship and traveling at 50 times light speed, there was a seemingly normal C-grade black disc-shaped ship that had already reached the dark universe region within the Milky Way. It was flying slowly. Captain, this space has been modified with space techniques by a powerful undying. It's blocking the coordinates. We are unable to proceed directly to Earth. A green uniformed tall and sturdy ape man said respectfully. A piercing sound suddenly rang. The situation is as our information suggests. We are indeed unable to head towards Earth directly. Unless it's through a wormhole, however, that would still take close to 3 years of time to reach. The second is to get an undying from the organization to break the space technique. Another green uniformed skinny lady said respectfully. There were a total of 8 green uniformed men and women. Before them stood a silver uniformed old man. HM. The old man nodded. The first choice of the wormhole, flying 3 years in the actual universe, that's something the organization cannot accept. And breaking through the space technique requires an extremely powerful undying to come. Any undying concealed here in the 1008 universe countries of the humans is an incredibly valuable resource. This matter, I have to consult the leader. Dark Universe. A blood-colored triangular ship was progressing at shocking speed, as Jade Dome planet was close to 100 million light-years away from Earth, hence even with 50 times light speed, it would still take about 2 months to reach. All the guards were resting in their quarters. Within the main cabin, the walls were covered with vines that spread throughout. The green leaves shook about, making the entire spacious cabin look like a little forest. The nutrition cabin's door opened automatically suddenly. During the star level, the geniuses in the universe have very few that could comprehend the origin laws. The strong ones were not too much stronger. At this time, the difference between a genius and a normal person wasn't too large. However, at the universe level, similar universe level 9s, those that were worthy of being called geniuses, most would have comprehended parts of the laws already. At this time, the power differences would be even bigger than before. At the Sector Lord level 9 level, law comprehension, internal world, self-created techniques, special encounters, etc., all these made the difference in power between a genius Sector Lord and normal one huge. So much so that in history, there were some super Sector Lords that were able to kill official level undyings at their level. It could be seen that the exceptional Sector Lords compared to the normal ones had huge differences. The higher the level, the more drastic the difference. One theory. The Golden Horned Beast and the Cloud Contact Vine were the same. A beginning star level Golden Horned Beast and Cloud Contact Vine had quite stark difference in power levels compared to other races. As their powers rise, the exceptional ones get more and more shocking. During Sector Lord level, the most perfect Cloud Contact Vine could evolve to have 360 vines, the lowest with only 36, the difference was 10 times. The more perfect the vine's evolution, the harder it is to break through to undying. Luo Feng rubbed the single leaf that had sprouted on his shoulder, saying softly, "My teacher's Sector Lord Cloud Contact Vine had only 108 vines, and you have 216, however. I will definitely make you evolve to undying." The leaf on his should immediately began to wave. "You've already reached Sector Lord level. What you must do now is to quickly reach the pinnacle of Sector Lord." Luo Feng let go of the leaf and it waved slightly, after which it shrank swiftly into the armor and vanished. The Cloud Contact Vine breaking through to undying is already very hard, however, the Golden Horned Beast breaking through to undying is even harder, much harder. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged in the cabin and pondered. His bloodline inherited memories were vast and complex. Within it had warnings and examples of those that broke through to undying. There were countless generations of Golden Horned Beasts stuck at the pinnacle of Sector Lord level. 99% of them didn't break through. Many of them at that level were strong as undyings, however. they remained stuck at Sector Lord level 9 and died after. This was also the fairness of the universe. The stronger a race was, the harder it was to break through to undying. In contrast, for humans to break through to undying, it was tens of thousands of times easier. Of course, the resources humans had when growing couldn't never compare to that of a golden horned beast. After a while, Luo Feng felt muddlehead, standing on the brink of losing his consciousness. However, his one belief kept him going. The killing aura had to reach another level of strength before it could make Luo Feng completely collapse. After a certain amount of time, the endless killing aura retracted swiftly, leaving behind a calm. Luo Feng's willpower, which had reached an almost unconscious state, immediately regained consciousness. Damn, I successfully withstood the killing aura. Luo Feng was mad with glee within. After which, a terrifying intense pain hit Luo Feng's consciousness through the golden horned beast's body. YA. Within the cabin, his earth body immediately knelt on the metal floor, his fingers strongly gripping the metal, leaving behind marks, gritting his teeth, so hard blood flowed from his gums. Within his internal world, the Mosha clansman and the golden horned beast were in intense pain, especially the main body, the golden horned beast, which was absorbing the crystal. It flew and knocked into the metal mountains, slashing at the ground and roaring loudly. It would fly high into sky and smash straight into the ground. Pain. It had reached a point where its consciousness was ready to collapse. Hurry and pass. Pass. Luo Feng and the Mosha clansman roared out. Wail. Howl. Painful cries resounded from the golden horned beast. Suddenly, its huge body, almost like a mountain, crashed into the ground. It lay there sprawled out, like it was incredibly fatigued. This was the most painful experience of absorbing the crystal ever, and compared to the 99th crystal before, it was simply too much of a difference, so much so that it almost made him crumble. I've finally succeeded. When he absorbed the 99th crystal, the right claw of the golden horned beast had 9 times the power of the origin laws. Simultaneously, the right claw's power alone was akin to its entire body's strength. It had completely risen its full power by 1 time. And also, its origin law melding was about 10 times now. It may seem very little, but this right claw alone, when used, was akin to 10 times its full strength. Right, from just 1 time to 10 times. Just the right claw alone was 10 times the body's strength. With everything together, it was 11 times its original strength before. With the beast's body's strength, unleashing deities of the world, with the progress it had made in the 2nd level, it could reach 5 times its strength. And after triggering the blood river energy, plus the new 11 times its power, it was close to 55 times. Unleashing its natural ability of strengthening, with a slash of the right claw, it reaches close to 110 times the original body's strength. 110 times. What was that? Even if the golden horned beast didn't use spirit energy, genetic energy, just the physical strength alone was 110 times its original, and its original strength was already incredibly intrepid, plus the comprehension of the beast god statue, the ultimate one-claw technique. Its power was simply too terrifying. If it had only absorbed 99 crystals, the difference in power was too much. Because of the increase in strength of the body, and multiplied with deities of the world and strengthening, it multiplies even further, hence it was that terrifying. A normal golden horned beast training in deities of the world wouldn't even compare to me. Luo Feng thought, and under normal circumstances, there would never be a chance to acquire the beast god statue, much less absorbing so many blood river crystals. My willpower is stronger than many undyings. Even if those golden horned beasts acquired blood river crystals, they probably wouldn't be able to absorb so many. The combination of many factors. Luo Feng's willpower, the golden horned beast structure, the resources form the virtual universe company, plus some luck, it finally created a terrifying golden horned beast. Compared to the golden horned beast, the Mosha clansman's strength was much weaker. The golden horned beast is still not strong enough now. Firstly, its law comprehension is far from enough. The one-claw technique isn't even 1% of the beast god's power when it unleashed it. Secondly, I'm currently in the 2nd level of deities of the world, and I'm only training a part of it. Making big progress in deities of the world would allow me to raise my strength by 9 times. If I complete even the 3rd level, then it'd be heavenly. Luo Feng pondered. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. Within the Yunmo planet ship control room, Luo Feng and Dylan stood at the control board. Immediately beginning universe transfer, entering the solar system. Countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The ship shook slightly. Very quickly, through the external simulator, Luo Feng saw a familiar space, a burning sun, and surrounding it the many planets, revolving about it. This space was the solar system. I'm back. Luo Feng let out a long sigh of relief, his gaze complex. The Yunmo planet ship swiftly headed towards Earth, as an F-grade ship, modified and upgraded by the pinnacle of humanity's technology, the Virtual Universe Company. The power this ship held within was tremendous, at least to the point where Earth's security system had no way to detect this F-grade ship. After flying for a while, Luo Feng gazed at the planet close to Earth, an originally simple red planet, Mars. It's actually, changed so much. Luo Feng smiled. Your Majesty, why are you smiling? Dylan asked curiously. Look, that planet. Luo Feng pointed at Mars. Very quickly, the Yunmo planet ship reached close to Earth's atmosphere. So many ships around. Dylan couldn't help but get shocked. I've been to many life planets, there's rarely so many ships about. Luo Feng gazed at the distant ships that flew out of Earth, some heading to the moon and others to Mars. He couldn't help but smile. These ships are all not entering universe transfer. Luo Feng explained. Earth and Mars, along with some satellites, have large amount of ships head back and forth. The travel is convenient. Just like a long-distance coach or public train. Large amount of ships headed to Earth, Mars and many satellites. Within one day, they could make it to their destinations. They could totally eat breakfast on Earth, go to Mars for lunch and return to Earth to sleep. Also, to the Luo family, leader of the Milky Way, large amounts of A and B grade ships was simply nothing to them. The humans of Earth only needed to pay a small amount to sit in the ships to travel. The Luo family's business of running these ships only required the cost of paying one employee. Everybody, leave the ship. Luo Feng suddenly ordered. Rumble. The guards on the Yunmo planet ship all swiftly left their quarters. Dylan, you are in charge of concealing their traces. I don't want to be discovered by Earth, there being over 1,000 people in Earth's atmosphere suddenly. Luo Feng laughed. This is easy. Dylan nodded and smiled. A great undying. If he couldn't even avoid Earth's detection, that would be a joke. After a while, Luo Feng and his guard team stood in the space outside. The Yunmo planet ship was kept in Barbata's storage. Dylan, keep the guards in your world. Luo Feng smiled. It'd be best that I return without all the grandeur. Yes. Dylan nodded. Yangju City. It was currently the most famous city on Earth. Just the population living there reached up to 20 million, plus the large amount of tourists, those searching for Luo Feng's history, and the many worshippers. It made it extremely bustling. During the entire Earth's remodeling, Yangju City's status had already reached the level of Jiangnan base. Yangju City, Luo Feng's old living quarters. Dylan, in a while, change your appearance a little. Luo Feng smiled as he looked at the black-robed bald man beside him. You are obviously not an Earth human looking like that. It would draw attention. Understood. Dylan nodded. Simultaneously his undying energy rippled, and his facial features moved like water, quickly taking the form of a normal-looking yellow-skinned bald man, no different from the humans of Earth. Even his dressing changed to that of a casual nightwear. Luo Feng and Dylan swiftly rushed downwards. The two didn't raise any of the city's security. Without a sound, they entered a pathway in Yangju City. This is the high school I studied at back then. This is the path I frequented. It still looks the same. There is where I used to live in, a rental place. As Luo Feng and Dylan walked, Luo Feng gazed at the memories from over 200 years ago. As a universe warrior, his memory was extremely good. He could even pull out memories of when he was an infant. It sure is bustling here. Dylan pointed at the distant spacious dojo of limits. That's where I trained. Luo Feng smiled. Back then I was one of the members. Your Majesty used to train there, and now you are the Milky Way leader. No wonder this dojo is so crowded. Dylan smiled and nodded. Luo Feng pointed at a not too distant restaurant. Let's go to that restaurant to eat. I didn't expect it to be here even after 200 years. Luo Feng put on sunglasses and walked with Dylan into the restaurant. After entering, Luo Feng and Dylan realized many had gathered within. It was noisy and crowded. The people of my home love to gather and chatter. Nothing's changed. Luo Feng smiled and walked to a corner to observe the happenings. It was a mess within. The plates and bowls on the table were broken. a fat yellow-haired youth had 4 black uniformed bodyguards. Another youth in training attire was blocking a girl. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside. The large group of people gathered outside swiftly dodged as a powerful sound resounded. It's the ship of the genius of the Luo family. A 30-meter diameter dark blue ship descended from above. As it came down, many black uniformed bodyguards swiftly jumped off and surrounded the restaurant. The boss is here. The fatty's expression changed as his hands became a blur, swiftly picking up all the broken plates and bowls and furniture. Hurry and clear the rubbish. The fatty ordered softly about. Immediately, the 4 black uniformed bodyguards behind him along with the group of staff swiftly picked up the rubbish, and in 10 short seconds, the entire restaurant was clear and empty. A new rug was put on, and at this time, the cabin door of the ship outside opened and a curly-haired fat youth walked out and landed. Behind him followed a purple-dressed voluptuous lady. Luo Yangjong glanced about. Many people outside the circle of guards looked on excitedly. That's the Luo family's genius master Luo Yangjong. It's Master Luo Yangjong. Look, his eyebrows are very similar to the leader Luo Feng. I came to Yangju City for holiday. It's the first time I'm seeing people of the Luo family. The crowd around was in an uproar. Luo Yangjong was very calm about the matter, as the family of the leader of the Milky Way, and because of Luo Feng, even the royalty of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire didn't dare disrespect the Luo family. And the surrounding basic-level universe civilizations all worshipped and highly respected the Luo family. Even though they didn't establish a royal family, however. In the eyes of the humans of Earth, the Milky Way leader Luo family was akin to royalty. As a family that was started from Luo Feng over 200 years ago, compared to those royal families more than 1 million years ago, Luo Feng's family members were much lesser compared to them. Just the males in the family alone only ranged in the hundreds. Hence, to actually see a member of the family was extremely rare. Nana, let's enter. Luo Yangjong smiled at the girl. I've always wanted to come here. I heard it's been here since before the Great Nirvana. The voluptuous girl said excitedly. Luo Yangjong smiled and nodded. The two entered side by side. Within the restaurant, the group of policemen hadn't had time to leave, hence they were still there. Master Luo. The policemen all bowed respectfully, including the captain. He too bowed respectfully willingly. Even though the Luo family was powerful, they never had any bad news about them, mostly just some small matters. After all, the legendary member of the family, the leader Luo Feng, had very strict requirements on his family. Luo Yangjong smiled and nodded. After which he gazed about the restaurant, frowning as he discovered the remains of a battle earlier within. Boss. The yellow-haired fatty ran over. Humph. Luo Yangjong had a hint of rage in his eyes, causing the fatty to force out a smile. Yang Huan was his classmate in school, plus they were both fat. Also he knew how to please and flatter people, hence they became friends. Luo Yangjong looked at the blood-stained youth in the training uniform, smiling. Yang Ji, are you okay? No problem, Master Luo. The youth replied. Luo Yangjong nodded. Leave, all of you. He ordered. Immediately, the group of policemen, the youth in the training uniform, the girl and the other guest who hadn't left all walked away. Luo Yangjong had ordered them. They all felt like this was a very normal thing. Not discussing other matters, just his power alone was star traveler level. Within the restaurant. I told you last time to teach him a lesson, but you have to see the circumstance. Luo Yangjong shot a cold glance at the yellow-haired fatty, communicating. Don't humiliate me when you do things, understand? Yes, boss. The yellow-haired fatty replied. Luo Yangjong suddenly stopped. His expression changed as he suddenly turned to look at the corner of the restaurant, his eyes revealing shock. He had just ordered and let everybody leave, and he felt as though everyone had already left. The two standing in the corner, he was a star traveler level, and he didn't even realize they were there, almost like there were air. This punk is quite vicious. He looks one way but secretly acts another. In the universe, he'd survive quite long. However, he's pretty unlike you. Is he from the Luo family? Dylan asked. Yes, indeed he's from the Luo family. He's called Luo Yangjong, my 8th great-grandson. Luo Feng told Dylan. They noticed Luo Yangjong looking over. Luo Yangjong, Luo Feng's 8th great-grandchild. As a member of the Luo family, even in the Milky Way, and even the Black Dragon Mountain star field, that represented a very high status. However, no matter how high their position in the family was, to the legendary being that caused Earth's position to rise so much, Luo Feng, he was still but a small fry. Also, the Luo family rules were very strict. He definitely saw it, the family leader definitely saw it, definitely. Luo Yangjong's sweat beaded from his forehead. He looked at this man, who seemed normal, slightly taller than he was, his gaze piercing and making him shudder. This man before him was the man he worshipped, the leader of the Luo family, the legendary being of Earth. Luo Feng. Boss? The yellow-haired fatty shouted curiously. Yang Zhong. The lady beside also shouted beside him. Luo Yangjong stood before Luo Feng, filled with fear, not knowing what to say. He was only the 8th great-grandchild. There were many disciples under the family, plus with Luo Feng constantly immersed in training for many years, occasionally entering the virtual universe's Black Dragon Mountain 9-star Bay, meeting the little generation that were out for a few decades. They had at most seen him 2 to 3 times. Like Luo Yangjong, he had only seen Luo Feng 3 times since birth. Luo Feng had only spoken to him once before. In his heart, the leader Luo Feng was an absolute being high above. The restaurant was completely silent. Everybody felt something was wrong, especially the black uniformed bodyguards that stood and stared curiously at the black-haired man in the corner. Why is he so like Luo Feng? Go home immediately, you don't need to mention me, they'll immediately forget they saw me. The black short-haired man glanced at Luo Yangjong. Yes. Luo Yangjong held his breath and replied respectfully. The others around saw that this genius master of the Luo family was acting all respectful. Hearing that cool Luo Feng-looking man say they'll immediately forget they saw me, they couldn't help but be filled with shock. Let's go. Yes, Your Majesty. The black short-haired man and the other bald tall and skinny man vanished. Only Luo Yangjong and his group along with the staff in the restaurant with their boss were left there, and the initially shocked guards and staff all regained their composure immediately, almost like they never saw the 2 men. The leader truly has unbelievable power. Luo Yangjong looked at the looks of his underlings around, holding his breath. My conversation with Yang Huan earlier must have been picked up by him. What do I do? What do I do? Even though I knew that the leader would return within these 2 years, who'd have expected him to not return home immediately and come to this restaurant instead? Luo Yangjong was worried within. Boss, let's go and eat. The fatty said. Yang Zhong. The lady beside shouted too. Shut up. Luo Yangjong raged, scaring both the fatty and the girl. When one is inadequate, it would result in many failures. He looked coldly at the fatty and ordered, let's go back. Nana, you'll go back yourself, I have important matters. Yes. Even though the black uniformed men were curious as to why their master, who had initially come to eat suddenly wanted to return. However they all complied, supporting him back into the private ship and swiftly lifting off. Earth, Luo family. The Luo family had complete and absolute power, even though the Earth was still run by the Earth Union. But because the entire Milky Way was under the Luo family, naturally, their position was special. And the Earth Union was mainly made of the upper echelon of the 5 great countries. Yangju City, Luo Feng's old residence. At its outer rim were many groups of uniformed guards patrolling. The guards were all extremely proud, because it was simply too difficult to become a guard of the Luo family. Firstly, many of their guards were star-level slaves the family purchased directly, and they were plentiful. Hence, the standards for the guards taken in from Earth were much higher. Even with the comrade status, the lowest requirement was a war god-level warrior. However, as long as they joined the Luo family, even if they entered as a war god, they would quickly reach Star Traveler level. Star Traveler level within the Luo family was very normal. Many of the masters have all returned recently. Right, even Lord Puyang, who was in the Chenjing star field, which is far from the Black Dragon Mountain star field, has returned. I heard he rushed in the Dark Universe in his ship for close to half a year. I heard Master Hai also gave up his universe mission and returned. The staff within the old residence were all discussing, the Luo family, as a powerful family, had many of its disciples on other planets, with very few remaining on Earth. However, recently, they all swiftly rushed back from everywhere. The staff all felt it was abnormal. Luo old residence, within its core was a quiet courtyard. This yard had a special position within the family, because this was where Luo Feng's brother Luo Hua lived. Within the courtyard. Big brother. Luo Hua. Luo Hua pushed the door and came out. Looking at Luo Feng and Dylan who were standing in the yard, he couldn't help but shout out surprised. The 2 brothers hugged. It's been over 200 years since you appeared in reality. Luo Hua said as he smiled. It's been a while, the Earth's changed a lot. Luo Feng nodded at his brother. Over 200 years, his brother didn't seem like he aged at all, still with the youthfulness of a student. Where's Mom and Dad? Luo Feng asked. Do you need to ask? Of course they are battling in the virtual universe games. Luo Hua laughed. I don't know what's up with them, they actually became game addicts. Luckily they've been strengthened to universe-level strength and mental capability, so they wouldn't mix up the virtual world with reality. Luo Feng shook his head and laughed. Of the entire Luo family, the most addicted to the virtual games were his parents. He had heard his dad say that during his escape back in the Great Nirvana, he had seen some paperback novels, and of which some were online too. Hence his parents were addicted to these virtual games. They had 100% simulation, and when the game time dragged for long periods, it made it hard for people to distinguish reality from the game. This was also why many rich disciples in the universe develop mental illnesses. However, Luo Feng had purely relied on resources to force his parents and little brother to the universe level. These sort of universe levels that purely relied on resources were enough to buy a small universe-level slave army. Of course, forcefully creating a few universe levels was nothing to Luo Feng. Big brother, you don't know, every time they see me, they get so excited about discussing the games, saying they are massacring in it and becoming some big bosses. Luo Hua shook his head and laughed. They even said their lives have been worth it. Playing the game makes them feel as though they are experiencing another life. 100% simulation, really exhilarating. Your Majesty, you have the makings of an absolute being. Dylan looked at Luo Feng. Even my teacher praises you, favors you. You will become one of the pillars supporting humanity. Luo Feng. Luo Feng. A silhouette entered the courtyard. Luo Feng turned and saw the long-haired Xu Xin. Honey. Luo Feng smiled sheepishly. The moment you come back you look for your brother. She snorted coldly. No, I scanned with my spirit energy earlier and you weren't home. Luo Feng smiled and walked over, quickly changing the subject. Right, when I came back, I saw that punk Luo Yangzhong, the way he does things. You mean Yangzhong? Xu Xin frowned with some rage. He is quite problematic. The family core is secretly collecting evidence on him, however, at least he hasn't done any huge grievous matters. Since you've brought it up, I'll immediately send him to the family court and accept his verdict and punishment. Managing a family, especially one that would continue on for 10,000 years, 1,000,000 years and even 1,000,000,000,000 years. It definitely couldn't rely on one person's judgment and decision, and Luo Feng didn't have the time to go manage the entire proceedings of the family, hence, they had to have family rules. And a family court. These few years, you haven't bothered about anything. Xu Xin stared at Luo Feng. About the family court. I'll give you a report. Over these many years, there have been 3 disciples sentenced to death, 37 punished, light and heavy. That Yang Zhong punk is talented and improves fast, and his crimes aren't that heavy, plus he is still young. The verdict will probably at most punish him to a mineral planet for 3 to 10 years. Luo Feng nodded. The Luo family rules were much stricter than many of the larger families in the universe. After chatting with his wife for a while and seeing his 2 sons separately, the Luo family held a ceremony that night. The disciples of the Luo family all rushed back from around the universe. Evening, the gathering began. The hall was bustling with the disciples within. Greetings, leader. Over 2,000 people knelt down respectfully in the hall. Ha ha. Luo Feng sat in the main seat, smiling as he looked at the crowd below. These over 2,000 people were filled with both men and women. Over 200 years. It's been many generations. The youngest at the moment was the 11th generation grandchild. There were a total of over 500 men amongst the 2,000 below. The rest were women. Of course there were many more daughter-in-laws, granddaughter-in-laws etc. Even though there were many in the family with only one spouse, the later generations, as they explored the universe more and gained more perspective, were influenced by other families, with many having many wives and even tens of them. The strong in the universe, those with power and status usually had many wives. Of course, those attending today's family meeting, the men only brought a max of 3 wives each, not daring to bring more. Get up all of you. Luo Feng ordered. Yes, family leader. Over 2,000 people got up. Luo Feng looked at infants carried by their parents below. Many of them blinked and looked at him. Some of them had dark blue eyes, obviously some were mixed blood. Xu Xin. Luo Feng said softly to his wife beside him, the later generations all seem to have more wives. The number of children are growing too. Shushin nodded. Like your 9th-generation grandson Luo Kudi, he has 51 wives. A third of them are of Earth human bloodline, the rest are all from the other races in the universe. Of course they are still races close to that of the women of Earth. That is our family rule. He has 21 sons and 28 daughters. Luo Feng was speechless. Luo Kudi. Vicious. The family reputation is growing, and as the Luo family gets stronger, especially with you taking up the supervisor envoy position, being one of the 4 tycoons of the Ganwu universe country, many ancient races in the country would mix. Shushin said helplessly, these later generation kids have seen much and naturally influenced by them. Those huge families in the universe, some of them marry over 10,000 spouses and have over 10,000 children. Compared to them, our Luo family is still okay. Shushin said. Luo Feng was silent. This is a normal thing that happens when a family grows, and for the family to flourish, it indeed to be big, with bigger numbers, only then will the chances of elites be higher. Shushin smiled. Those ancient families in the universe, which of them doesn't have trillions of disciples? Just within the family alone, the number of sector lords, domain lords and universe levels are uncountable. Luo Feng forced a smile. If his later generations, every one of them married tens of wives and gave birth to tens of children, in 100 to 1,000 years, his family population would range in the trillions. The reason why humanity is strong, Dylan said beside him quietly, is because of its reproductivity strength. Its numbers are huge. Luo Feng turned to look at Dylan. Reproductivity. Tens of children. Why did it feel like a sow giving birth, having a group at a time? Mr. Dylan is right. Shushin smiled and nodded. For a family to become stronger, it cannot simply rely on one person. It requires large amounts of disciples. There's only over 500 men in the family. Compared to the ancient families in the universe, it's pitiful. All right. Luo Feng shook his head and smiled. His own generation, Luo Ping and Luo Hai. At least the earlier generations all mostly had one spouse, occasionally having 2 or 3. The later it got, especially the 6th generation grandchildren, 7th, it got more absurd. Right now Luo Kudi has tens of wives. I'm afraid the later generations will be even more absurd. Luo Feng laughed lightly and Shushin said beside him, eventually, it wouldn't even be strange if one comes up with thousands to tens of thousands of wives. Luo Kudi. Luo Hua, who sat beside Luo Feng, laughed. Brother, who came up with this name, it seems accurate. That punk's strength is average, yet he has so many wives and children, and he's still young. I've seen this punk. He has the brains for business. The family gave him 3 life planets as territory. He not only built a few palaces there, he's even built palaces in many places in the universe, nice places to keep his women. Having 51 wives at such a young age, I think in a few decades, it'll reach the hundreds, or even thousands. Luo Kudi. Luo Hua shook his head. Just using the huge number of children he has, he can win over his enemies. It's an accurate name for him. A reminder to all. Shushin smiled. 51 wives is the reported number. According to the family report system, that Luo Kudi has another 62 he hasn't reported. Luo Feng and Luo Hua exchanged glances. Speechless. Genius. The undying Dylan laughed lightly beside. This gathering, Luo Feng played around with the infants. Of course the thing that shocked him the most was still Luo Kudi. Luo Feng had a feeling that if this went on, his family would grow extremely huge, of course compared to the Black Dragon Mountain Empire royal family, or the Jisha family etc., the ancient families. Even if his family reached over 100 million, it wouldn't even be a fraction of the ancient families. After the ceremony, Luo Feng, Shushin, Luo Ping and Luo Hai sat together as a family. Dad. Luo Hai asked, how long will you be back for this time? Little Hai, I'll stay pretty long on Earth this time. Luo Feng smiled and rubbed his son's head. Of the 2 sons, Luo Ping was more steady and grounded. Luo Hai however was more hot-blooded and was studying in the Ganwu dojo, exploring the universe. With the family's nurturing, he was already star level 8. How long is pretty long? Luo Hai asked. Luo Ping looked at his father too. If it's short, a few hundred years. If it's long, over 1,000 years to tens of thousands. Luo Feng smiled. The time I'm the supervisor envoy, I'll remain here in reality on Earth. Unless there's a special mission the virtual universe company sends occasionally, the rest of the time I'll be here. Ha ha, yay. Luo Hai cheered. Luo Ping and Luo Hai, the two brothers bumped fists in celebration. Luo Feng and Shushin laughed at the scene. There were many disciples in the family, the two closest however were still their own sons. I won't be leaving to explore the universe these few years. Luo Hai shouted, I want to be on Earth, ha ha, Dad, of your guard group, there's actually 10 sector lords and 100 domain lords, hee, and even an undying, there'll be many to teach me in the future. Don't disturb Dylan if it isn't important, once or twice is fine. Luo Feng ordered, and you are only a star level 8 punk. The 10 sector lords in my guard team are all recognized by the origin laws. All of them can easily give you pointers, looking for them is enough. Luo Hai nodded, understood Dad. Sector lords recognized by the origin laws. Even if the entire Black Dragon Mountain star field put them together, there would only be so few. Shushin. Luo Feng looked at his wife, my plan is to buy a few advanced technological items from the virtual universe to remodel the Earth. Remodel Earth. Shushin, Luo Ping and Luo Hai looked shocked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng nodded. Dylan. Luo Feng shouted, simultaneously communicating over 1 kilometer away into the house. Dylan appeared in mid-air. Your Majesty. Dylan shouted, Luo Ping, Luo Hai and Shushin immediately became serious, after all this was an undying. Tell them my plans to remodel Earth. Luo Feng said. HM. Dylan looked at Shushin and the two brothers, Your Majesty is Truyang Emperor's disciples, and you even made it into the primal region on your first time. You are definitely one of the top elites of the virtual universe company, and the company favors such a genius. Similarly, the other races in the universe would too. Shushin, Luo Ping and Luo Hai were shocked. The universe isn't fair. War will always be there. Dylan said, the armies of the universe countries, large amounts of soldiers die every day, however those are still mostly just cannon fodder. For an absolute genius like Your Majesty, you are the true threat to those other races. With your talent, as long as you don't fall. It's set that you become at least an official level undying, there's even hope for you to become an emperor level undying. There's even a slight chance for you to become the mighty universe country leaders. To these absolute geniuses, humanity recognizes your importance, naturally the other races do too. What humanity recognizes is nurture, while what the other races, they have to kill them early. Dylan said. Shushin, Luo Ping and Luo Hai's expression changed. Dylan smiled, however, don't worry, the few elites the other races have hidden within humanity do not dare reveal themselves too easily. After all, hiding amongst us and not being discovered is an extremely hard thing to do. And also, the absolute geniuses aren't fully matured yet, and their position is at most similar to an official level undying. Dylan said, in truth, to break through that space technique surrounding Earth, one has to at least be an official level undying proficient in space techniques, and even so, these official level undyings wouldn't do it personally, because doing that would reveal themselves, and within humanity's territory, they wouldn't be able to escape. Luo Feng nodded, hence you needn't be too worried. Shushin, Luo Ping and Luo Hai nodded. To conceal themselves and enter is hard enough, and doing that with an official level undying. To these races, their value is akin to an emperor level undying that's not in our territory. Dylan smiled, they cannot bear to lose them. The stronger the being, the harder it is for them to enter human territory and hide. The moment they succeed, they all become important pawns. However, we cannot get careless either. Assassination, there's many ways to do it, they can use poison or automaton weapons or some special methods. Dylan said, anyway, there's many ways to kill someone. Shushin and the two brothers were shocked. You can relax, during the time any supervisor envoy is sent out, if they cannot even be guaranteed safety in the planet they stay in, they would all be long gone. Dylan laughed, the virtual universe company already has a perfect remodeling plan for the planets the geniuses stay long-term in, it can at least guarantee that these planets will be completely safe when they are in them. Only when they leave and do the other missions, normally only then would they face danger. Luo Feng smiled, let's believe in the power of the virtual universe company. Right, how's the Bug Clan Mother Nest doing? Luo Feng asked. There were two important things he had to do on Earth, one was to remodel it and the second was the plan for the Bug Clan Mother Nest. Part 1 end here.